Namaste, and thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to discuss kind of a unique posture, Parivritta Janu Sirsasana. You don't typically see this in Ashtanga. It is one of those postures that is similar to a number of postures in Ashtanga, but nonetheless, we see it more in Iyengar. At least Iyengar has profiled it in his book, Light on Yoga. It's a lot like Parivritta, if you're familiar with that second series posture, where it requires a side bend, a twist, and a forward fold. So in the current sequence I'm teaching, we begin with Janu Sirsasana. Now let's just quickly review some interesting points about Janu Sirsasana, or at least points in which I find interesting. A lot of times people will, students will say they have great difficulties with lotus pose or half lotus pose with, obvious reasons, right? Knee and hip stuff, and there's certainly the potential for misalignment. The unique thing and the big difference, we see that like when we look at Janu Sirsasana, right, this pose, or if we were to look at half lotus posture, we can like visibly see some serious differences between the postures, right? But the part of the postures that I'd like to point out most is that the placement of your pelvis in relation to the extended leg, that's the one we really want to focus on, as does Roshi. Okay. So what ends up happening is go on, go lay down. Go on, go lay down. Go ahead, go lay down. Go lay down. So what ends up happening is that the position of the pelvis in relation to the extended leg and half lotus is very perpendicular, while in Janu Sirsasana we have it really opened up here. All right. So even if I were just going into the regular head to knee pose, Janu Sirsasana, Janu knee, Sirsha head, right? I've got to reach a lot more with the bent leg side than I typically do, right? As I reach for that foot. All right. So that usually means, it's a little bit like triangle and extended side angle in this way. I've got to make adjustments in my body in effort to keep things, right, like kind of frame things anatomically around samastiti, right? Just kind of like a neutral position with the body. So if I'm reaching further with this right side, in this case my right knee is bent, and my left side is shortening up, once I get into the posture, I want to learn to shorten this side and try to extend my left side, my extended leg side, right? And this is going to ensure that I try to balance the posture out as much as possible. Now, like I said, we see this like an extended side angle, right? And, if I were to take Parivritta Janu Sirsasana, or at least kind of wake myself up to it a little bit, as I go into the side bend and as I rotate my body, again, the right side being where it is, really just in kind of like the posture's architecture, is going to have to reach a lot more for that extended leg's foot. While this underside, my left side, just the left leg, right, the extended leg side, is going to be like kind of crunching up. Right, my whole spine is going to be kind of crunched over like this. So really what I'm going to learn to do, right, there's no doubt that the architecture of the pose is going to cause the body, in this case the right side of the body, to be a lot longer than the left side of the body. It doesn't mean that we're going to even everything out so that the distance from hip to shoulder is going to be the same distance on both left and right side. What I'm saying is that there should be effort put into creating that balance, right? So as I reach for Janu Sirsasana, Parivritta Janu Sirsasana here, right? And I might even take my left hand here as I reach my right arm towards that foot or toe, maybe even a strap. I've got to learn to extend this bottom side as I attempt to kind of shorten my top side, okay? So within the sequence, right, if I'm in the sequence that I'm currently teaching, we're in Janu Sirsasana, I got 5 breaths here, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we work on the rotation, right? We come on up and we take Marichasana, C, twisting right, right? So as I take the twist to the right, these two postures are really gonna kind of open things up for Parivritta, Janu, Sirsasana. Now, when we get to Parivritta, Janu, Sirsasana, my first hand position that I was just demonstrating is very similar to Parigasana. It's a little bit easier, right? So if I'm taking my left hand here and I'm just reaching my right arm up and over, I can certainly take this modification, if you will. It becomes more difficult when I place my left hand on my knee, because this distance here is going to limit how much I can actually extend this left side. Now, do we avoid that? I don't think so. I think we work with it. We accept the fact that the degree of difficulty, at least in extending this extended leg side, right, extending this left side of my body, is going to now be more challenging. All right, so in many ways, the ideal posture is here, even though it's the most challenging. I'm trying to keep my right hip down. I'm trying to shorten my right side, extend my left side, all the while the length of my left arm is keeping that shoulder pinned and kind of keeping things crunched up. But I'm still putting in the effort, okay? All right, so now let's look at those modifications for Parivritta, Janu, Sirsasana, all right? So, as I mentioned, right, we can certainly take this posture. You can even use like a strap or something like that, all right? Now, as I switch things up, I'm not nearly as warm on this right side, so actually it's all the better for modifications. So the first thing I can really do is start to reach that right hand forward, and I get this modification of Parigasana as well. The only thing I'm doing is kind of looking for extended side angle in the seated posture. Right, so my right hand's placed here in front of, right, or, you know, to the inside of my right leg. This time my right leg is my extended leg, just keep that in mind. And as I'm reaching my left side, my left arm up overhead, much like I do an extended side angle, I can kind of work the rotation here as well. I can work the twist a little bit as well as I find that side. This is a great, great posture, right? Even though I can kind of reach pretty darn far in this pose, I can still get a lot out of that, you know, this modification, all right? Now, I might take it up a step further, right? If I'm going to catch the bent knee side, my right hand here catching my left knee, I do the same exact thing. I reach the left arm up and over. I'm reaching, trying to find that, not just side bend, but that lean of my right shoulder towards my right knee so that I can keep both sides of my body as long as possible. All the while, I'm going to keep that right leg active, try to keep the second toe pointing straight up. All right? So here, just wonderful modifications for this pose. Oh, it's so good. All right. Even Roshi likes them, right, bud? Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on Parivritta, Janu, Sirsasana, which we will be practicing over the next few months. Enjoy. Peace.